How are things going today? What is it looking like as far as the numbers?
Well, we've got an all-time record early vote here in Johnson County, and I'm confident that we'll exceed the past record, which was the 2006 November election. 44,292 people voted. We're going to exceed that, but one of the questions auditors have when we have a high early vote is, does this mean a record election, or are people just voting earlier? In this case, it turned out to be both. More people are voting earlier. It's going to be a record, but a lot less people are voting during the day today in Johnson County on Election Day. I'm confident over half the voters will have voted early by the time we end up counting all the ballots.
Okay. What is the early voting? How does this year's compare to the 2006 election?
The early voting is way up. In fact, for the city of Iowa City, significantly more people have voted early than voted in the entire election in 2006.
Okay. What are you expecting for the rest of the day as far as voter turnout?
Well, I think it'll pick up a little bit more. I don't know if there's a correlation between people voting early and the people who vote early in the day, but it seems that there's a trend towards voting earlier and to having less voting relatively early in the day. So the numbers were really low at 9. They picked up just slightly by 11. And I expect that they'll increase during the dinner hour, usually in the early evenings until 7 o'clock or so. Things pick up quite a bit.
Okay, and then what do you think is attributing to these record numbers for this year?
Well, let me just give you a little breakdown in the Iowa City voting. As it's traditional that our oldest voters are the best voters. So about 58%, according to our last numbers, 58% of 65 and older voters have already cast early ballots. The next highest is 37% of the 50 to 64-year-olds. I'm sorry, 47% of those, and then 37% of 18 to 24-year-olds. So, but the 37% of 18 to 24-year-olds is the most significant increase in an age group. And for example, about 7,000 18 to 24-year-olds have cast early ballots, which is half of the turnout for the city of Iowa City in 2006.